When you picture wealthy people from Georgia, you might be thinking Old South, highly ambitious tech bros, or popular hip-hop artists from Atlanta. Interestingly enough, this view has grown outdated thanks to the recent strides of women making waves in software development, economics, and space exploration. Today, we explore the top 10 wealthiest women in Georgia. Stay tuned for the world's wealthiest woman at number 1. Number 10. Mary Dillon. From rags to riches. Ulta Beauty. Today has dozens of stores in Georgia, hundreds of locations across the United States, and a total valuation of over $30 billion. The success of this company traces back to Mary Dillon, a woman who grew up in Chicago as the fourth of 6 children. Her father worked in a steel mill while her mother was a homemaker. So, to pay for college, she worked multiple jobs, from being a waitress and working as a bank teller. But all that was about to change. Unbeknownst to her family, Mary Dillon would be the first person in her home to pursue a career by climbing up the corporate ladder. Better yet, she would pull it off with America's biggest brands, relying on her skills for promotion. Believing in a bright future ahead, Mary earned her marketing degree from University of Chicago and got to work immediately. Dillon's story from this point is nothing short of incredible. Her skills got her through some of the biggest consumer brands in the country, from lead executive roles at Pepsi to becoming president of the Quaker Foods division. From there, she became Global Chief Marketing Officer at McDonald's from 2005 to 2010. And by the end of the final year, she left the company and immediately took over as president and CEO of Cellular as the one in charge of distribution. And then came the defining moment. In early 2013, she was brought in to head the struggling beauty retail company Ulta Beauty. Though it has over 500 stores across the country, it wasn't a reliable brand, and to change that, Dillon worked hard over the next 8 years, growing the store count from 550 to over 1,300 locations. The market capitalization tripled in just 5 years, but this was far from over. Ulta soon became an omni-channel retail, vomiting with high-end department store brands and counters. Seeing even bigger opportunities beyond the walls of the company, Mary Dillon stepped down in 2021 and became the CEO of Foot Locker. Fortune and Barron's named her one of the most powerful women CEOs in 2016, and she led the Retail Industry Leaders Association in 2020. On March 24th, American Airlines elected her to its board of directors, marking her long transition from cleaning houses to pay for college to becoming one of the most powerful women in the business world. As of January 2026, her net worth was grossed at $80 million. But we're just getting started. Number 9. Whitney Wolfe Herd. Coming back stronger. Let's continue with the woman who changed the rules of online dating. Whitney Wolfe Herd. At just 24 years old, without an office and little corporate work experience, this woman decided to build something from scratch. But even then, this wasn't Whitney's first rodeo, as back in her college days, she was already running her own venture created to help communities affected by the 2010 oil spill. At 22, she worked as a co-founder of the popular dating app Tinder. She gave the app its name and helped build the strategies behind its meta. Things seemed to be going well at Tinder until 2014, when a legal case led to her leaving the company. But that wasn't the end of the story. Later that same year, she founded a new dating platform called Bumble. The idea was simple. Unlike Tinder, this app would be designed for women to send the first message. This one rule changed everything, preventing unwanted messages, long waiting lines, and online harassment. With this strategy, the platform's user base grew to over 100 million users. And in February 2021, it went public with a valuation of over $13 billion, with almost $600 million in the previous year. Since then, Bumble has been used widely in Georgia cities including Atlanta, where it consistently ranks among the most downloaded dating apps in that area. At 31, Whitney became the youngest woman to take a company from scratch to a public corporation, and with a net worth of about $500 million. Whitney Wolfe Herd changed the world of dating, and the world adapted accordingly. But the next woman on our list built something desperately needed by America's military. Number 8. Kathleen Hildreth. Quiet contracts, loud results. Kathleen runs a company that keeps America's most powerful aircraft running, but not as a pilot or general. Rather, she pulls this off as the founder of a company that America's military heavily depends on. And while not much is known about her early life, many in the U.S. defense sector agree that her actions have spoken louder than anything else. So what's her story? Well, over a decade ago, Kathleen Hildreth served as an average contractor working for the government, and in the few years she served, she learned how the system worked. Noticing that the U.S. Department of Defense had high standards only few and overly expensive companies could keep up with, she decided to start her own company from inside. This company was founded in 2003. Known to everyone as M1 Support Services, it would provide affordable aircraft maintenance, take care of military logistics, and grant special training to pilots and clients from the U.S. Defense. To save government costs, Kathleen's company only accepted long-term contracts that focused less on profits and more on giving the stability America's military needed desperately at the time. And this decision alone led to many years of growth and advancement in technology. M1 Support Services has federal contracts that support U.S. military bases, including operations affecting installations near Georgia, such as support services tied to Fort Stewart or Moody Air Force Base. Not only did it make America's military as efficient and powerful as it is today, but also expanded wide enough to employ thousands of workers. M1 accumulated several awards in the hundreds of millions of dollars, with the entire company valued at over $600 million according to Forbes. But here is where it gets interesting. Working in this field is the highest risk without backing from a contractor, and each mistake or lapse in performance comes with massive financial penalties to deal with. Yet with one idea, she saved America trillions of dollars in military costs. Now that takes a special kind of genius, but our next entry turned $500 and a wooden kitchen table into a $900 million brand. And here's the story of how she pulled it off. Number 7. Kendra Scott. From $500 to $1 billion, Kendra's story takes us back to 2002, when she decided to start her dream jewelry company with just $500 and no business degree. What could possibly go wrong? Kendra Scott was born in Kenosha in 1974. Her family moved when she was a child, and she enrolled at A&M University but dropped out before the end of her second year when her stepfather was diagnosed with cancer. Choosing to be there for her family, she stayed at home to take care of things. And to this sacrifice, college was out of the equation, and she had to figure out the rest on her own. She had a knack for business, but her last go in the fashion industry turned out to be a major disaster. Still, she had to try. So in 2022, she started working from home, working at her kitchen table designing jewelry. Her starting budget was just $500, and since she couldn't open a store right away, she walked into existing stores to pitch her ideas and products. Most stores bought her ideas and started making orders, and that was the signal she needed. And just like that, in a matter of months, the company grew quickly. But most of the work was done at her now larger kitchen table, and she sold her products directly to consumers through signed retail stores and online platforms. By December 2010, following the economic nightmare of 2008, her company had over 100 stores across the country with annual revenues approaching $400 million. The company flourished for years until 2017, when she sold stakes to Berkshire Partners, bringing her network to $800 million. Kendra Scott's jewelry brand has been sold and maintained retail presences in Georgia, built from scratch without a formal degree or contractual help from early investors, but the next person changed the global tech industry forever. Her story is beyond breathtaking. Number 6. Lisa Su. Rebuilding from scratch. Many tech enthusiasts around the world shook their heads when they heard that Lisa Su had taken over as CEO of AMD in 2014. This was because AMD, the semiconductor company, was losing money, market share, and running low on cash. Their products weren't selling, easily losing to better-known competitors like Nvidia and Intel. The entire brand was on the verge of bankruptcy, and Lisa didn't look like she had what it took to bring the company back on its feet. Fast forward 10 years later, and AMD is one of the most competitive tech companies in the world, with its redemption story having Lisa's fingerprints all over it. AMD has major commercial customers in Georgia tech and enterprise sectors, including data centers and partners in Atlanta's semiconductor and cloud infrastructure markets. Lisa Su, the woman behind this, was born in Tainan in 1969 and moved to the U.S. as a child. She grew up in New York in a family that pushed her towards math and science. She was good at it, studying electrical engineering at MIT and staying there long enough to earn degrees from bachelor's to PhD in the same course. She finished in 1994, with most of her projects focusing on semiconductors, the field that would define the rest of her life moving forward. With outstanding degrees, she moved to IBM in 1995, where she worked on chip development and rose to vice president of the Semiconductor Research and Development Center. In 2012, she left the company and joined AMD. 2 years later, she was running the entire company. So how did she pull this sinking company out of the mud? Well, after taking the helm in 2014, her decisions quickly began to show. Instead of just cutting costs, she went the hard route, rebuilding the architecture from the ground up, leading to the new design called Zen. The new system launched in 2017, and it single-handedly saved the company from collapsing. AMD was valued at just over $6 billion in 2017, but by 2022, the number grew to well over $23 billion. Today, AMD is valued at $340 billion, with the CEO's net worth valued at $800 million. She is ranked by Forbes as one of the most powerful women on the planet, and AMD's chips are found in popular consumer products like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles. She also got the IEEE Medal of Honor, recognized globally as one of the highest awards in modern engineering. Lisa Su took the hardest job in the tech industry and turned it into a machine that never stopped printing money. But our next candidate got even greater wealth from just granting affordable healthcare. Number 5. April Anthony. New setback, new opportunity. At 25, April Anthony started her first venture but purchased a failing home health agency. She had worked in the industry for barely over a month at this time. It was a horrible idea to most people, but she sensed an opportunity. Today, she had multiple agencies operating in Georgia's home health market under her technology platforms and service frameworks. Her story up to that point is nothing short of breathtaking. Growing up in Longwood, her father was an accountant, while her mother was a homemaker. She got a business degree from Abilene Christian University and got into the workforce in 1991 under the healthcare system. All she had was a business background, and in 1992, she bought Liberty Health Services. It was nothing more than a struggling health agency at the time, bleeding money each month with no hope on the horizon. But by late 1993, she had restructured all operations and turned it profitable. Unlike those before her, April not only cared for seniors and patients who could barely afford health care, she also understood numbers and wasn't scared to make hard calls at the right time. In 1998, she founded her own hospice with a new strategy never seen before in the health sector. The mission was simple: find struggling healthcare providers and use the same strategies to boost them into effective networks. She also had something going by 2001, launching Home Care Homebase, a software platform designed to keep clinical records, calculate billing, and decide logistics. In a few years, it became used across America until it became sold to Hearst Corporate for more than $200 million. She founded another healthcare firm called Encompass, and after finding success with that, she sold it as well to HealthSouth. Today, she leads another hospice company, amassing a net worth of $800 million. Ranking among the world's top 50 self-made female centimillionaires in the world as of 2025. April made waves in the health sector, but the next person leads one of the biggest space companies in the world. Number 4. Gwynne Shotwell. The woman behind the rockets. While Elon Musk is popularly seen as the face and leader of SpaceX, the person regularly turning his ideas into reality gets a lot less attention. Thanks to her work, SpaceX regularly launches missions that deploy satellites and communications infrastructure used by Georgia companies and government entities. And now, let's meet the woman behind the success. Gwynne Shotwell grew up in Illinois in a home heavily invested in science and art. She grew up being naturally gifted as an athlete, but her attention shifted when she attended a panel funded by the Society of Women Engineers. That event changed the trajectory of her life, prompting her to pursue a degree in engineering at Northwestern University. After that, she got her master's degree in mathematics, and not long after, her career kicked off in 1988 at the Aerospace Corporation. There, she designed satellites and fixed thermal issues with spacecraft parts. After 10 years working there, she moved to Microcosm, where she led the Space Systems division, and in 2002, she joined SpaceX in its early days as the seventh employee directly brought in by Elon Musk. SpaceX at that point had no working rockets and launches. No proven track record could convince anyone to invest in the company. But thanks to Gwynne's help in pitching Elon's ideas to potential investors, things would get better soon enough. All those early deals that gave SpaceX what it needed to kick off early on were all because of her. But there were more problems to deal with. Multiple failures marked SpaceX's early endeavors, with the Falcon 1 rocket failing publicly on more than one occasion. But thanks to her meetings with special representatives from NASA, SpaceX got the contracts and money needed to keep the struggling company alive and find for more rocket launches. Over time, what started as a startup with only 7 workers expanded to a workforce of over 13,000 employees paid and multi-billion contracts with the Department of Defense and NASA. Today, with her office located at Starbase, she works as president of SpaceX and COO, managing daily operations and strategic direction. Her net worth today is estimated at slightly above $1 billion, and she's been elected to the National Academy of Engineering, inducted into the Women in Technology International Hall of Fame, and repeatedly listed among the world's most powerful women by Forbes and Fortune. In 20 years, Gwynne moved number 7 to running one of the most valuable private companies on Earth, and our next entry basically redefined insurance. Number 3. Robyn Jones, becoming what she always wanted. It all began with one major frustration. One woman wanted a better insurance agent, couldn't find any, decided to become one and easily made billions from it. Meet Robyn Jones, not in Canada, in 1962, and growing up in Alberta. She married young, raising 6 kids and spending years managing the home while her husband worked round the clock as a consultant. Money was tight and life was busy, but while flipping homes Robyn kept running into the same problem. Apparently, most insurance agents she met either didn't know their products well or were never interested in helping her understand what the systems were assisting with. Seeing no solution available to fix this, she got her insurance license and opened a small agency in Westlake. The idea was to give clients real information, options, and services based on trusted sources recognized by all major insurance companies. The following year, her husband quit his job to join her full-time, and thanks to his persistent support, Goosehead Insurance began to show some promise. The success of the next 15 years came not from expanding, but training independent agents across the country to sell their services under the Goosehead brand and system. In 2024, the company had more than 1,000 franchise offices in the U.S. with over $300 million in annual revenue. As of today, Goosehead Insurance has franchise offices and licensed agents operating in Georgia, offering personal and commercial insurance products to Georgia residents through its nationwide network. Forbes estimates her net worth at $1.2 billion. In just over a decade, Robyn Jones changed America's insurance system, forcing other companies to do better for customers by providing agents who knew the products and services they sold to clients. But this is where things get crazy, with the next person turning $1 million bet into an $8 billion empire. What was the bet about, and why was it a big deal besides the cost? Now, this is where the stories get crazy. Number 2. Ty Lee, from $1 million to $8 billion. Today, the famous tech giant Shy International counts Georgia among its top corporate and public sector customers, providing IT technology procurement and services to Georgia universities, hospitals, and government agencies. But even more interesting is the woman who helped build the company. Born in 1958 to a family living in Bangkok at the time, Ty Lee spent her childhood constantly moving around because of her father's constant business trips. For this reason, her family couldn't find a permanent home until she was in her teen years, and that landed the family in the United States. She had very limited English and a lot of adjusting to do, but managed to figure things out at high school before graduating from Amherst College in 1980. With her double major in biology and economics, she went in to get an MBA from Harvard Business School in 1985. She emerged as the first Korean woman to graduate from the program. After school, she worked at Procter & Gamble and American Express mainly through marketing. Then in 1989, she and her then-husband made the wild decision to buy a struggling software reseller. They renamed the company to She International. Then they got to work. Instead of getting loans to kick things off, she focused instead on customer service and giving her employees time to grow at their own pace. This was a long road, and they experienced lots of losses at the start. But fast forward 30 years later, and Shy has grown from a small reseller to a global IT company serving over 15,000 corporate clients. Multiple people rely on her company's services, and among these firms include Boeing and AT&T, whose annual sales add up to over $10 million. The company today offers multiple services apart from reselling, ranging from hardware procurement to software licensing, cloud solutions, and cybersecurity. As of today, Forbes estimates Ty Lee's net worth at approaching $8 billion, placing her at the top 5 self-made female billionaires in the world. She has won Ernst & Young's Entrepreneur of the Year award and serves on advisory boards at both Harvard Business School and Amherst College. Just like that, what started as a $1 million gamble at the heat of the moment multiplied into an empire worth billions. Now, before we get to number 1, let's recognize one honorable mention: Paige Mikoski. She founded Aviator Nation in 2005 from Austin. The company started by producing athlete wear inspired by vintage art. She did this on her own with no mass production grants or trend integration. To everyone's surprise, it worked. And by the early 2023, the brand was pulling in over $200 million each year through stores on the streets, online sales, and wholesale partnerships. Today, it has a strong following among fashion and lifestyle consumers, with Forbes estimating the founder's net worth at $400 million. Now, we go into the meat and potato of this entire video. So, without further ado, here is Georgia's richest woman. Number 1. Alice Walton. When the world's richest chooses museums. As of March 2026, Alice Walton's net worth sits at $130. She is the richest woman in the world, and thanks to her low profile, she is mostly recognized as the daughter of Sam Walton, the Anne who founded Walmart in 1962. But don't let the inherited wealth fool you. Believe it or not, Alice started by earning an economics degree from Trinity University in Texas in 1971. After that, she spent years in finance working as an analyst, a broker, and eventually founder and CEO of her own investment bank, Llama Company. The bank ran from 1988 to 1998. And then, something interesting happened. Instead of accepting the board role given by her father, Alice Walton chose to do her own thing. And what was her vision? It was a museum. And with this passion in mind, she built the large Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Bentonville. This museum opened in 2011 on 120 acres of family-donated land. With free admission, many tourists came pouring into the arts education program, and seeing the high demand for that, she launched Art Bridges in 2017. The idea was to make art more accessible by loaning artwork to regional museums. Soon, she had a School of Medicine launched in her name, and in 2025, the Alice L. Walton School of Medicine welcomed its first MD class. She inherited significant wealth and built massive ventures from scratch, donating hundreds of millions in charities. Which of these stories inspired you the most? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to her status for more deep dives. Now go ahead and click on the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.